Hello and welcome. We are all the way live. You guys, so a couple days ago, let me just introduce myself. My name is Nicole Fletcher. I am a certified birth doula. I'm an apprentice midwife. I'm a childbirth educator, dancing for birth instructor, placenta encapsulation specialist. I am a nutrition coach. I am a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a friend. I'm a colleague. I'm a mentor. These are just some of the things that I do in this community and how I show up in my community. I'm a part of a regenerative detoxification community that really helps to address health and wellness on the cellular level. I'm a believer, and I'm just really excited to kind of open up this summertime series. So, I have many people that I'm in contact with, many women, many families, individuals that are doing amazing things in the community. And I want to use my platform, whatever it's worth, to elevate the voices of others so that they can be seen, they can be heard. And really valued and understood, and their stories can be shared. And so I'm going to be doing what's called the Summertime Series. At this point, I can't even tell you what my schedule is going to be like. So when you see me say, hey, Nicole's going to do a Summertime Series and so's going to be their guest, guess what? That's the guest. That's the day it is. So tune in. Don't sleep on it. I live a life that's a little wild and unpredictable. And part of that is because of the profession and the career that I've chosen. So scheduling sometimes is just, we just got to roll with it, go with the flow. And I help people go with the flow. So today I have an amazing woman who I have grown to know over the years. She and her family have just blessed my heart in so many different ways, it's almost hard to just kind of list. But from the spirit, from like spiritual connection, she's been on it and like linked and locked arms with me. From a like just a I mean, I don't know, I can't even like get there. It's just like, I love this woman. I don't know if you've ever had somebody that you're like, I just love this person, and like it doesn't even matter what they do or what they don't do, it's just who they are. Like, it's who she is. I freaking love her. And so I want you to feel the love that I feel for her. And I want her to share a little bit about her life and her story of being a wife, of being a mother of four, of, breastfeeding multiple children over the years, and all of the different things, and our connection with like our creator, God, and what that looks like, and how we live that out in our lives, and how we steward our bodies, our temples, and how we show up well for our family. So I'm just talking and talking and talking, but without further ado, I'm going to introduce to some and present to others the Miss Tiara Piggee.
Nicole,
Welcome.
you are a mess.
I can't do nothing but be a mess, right? Like, that's just who I am, right?
This is very true. Yes. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Oh, thank you for that. Like, you legit just lifted my whole little spirit. And I've always said that about you. I'm like, you know how it feels when you like leave revival or like a really good church service? I was like, that's how I feel every time I'm with her. Like,
Oh,
I always feel revival. There's something. I
there's
always
something.
that.
There's something. Well, Tiara, thank you for taking the time out to just kind of be with us today. I don't plan on being before the people long, but I want to have this, I want to share. So it's summertime, right? And, the kids are home. So that brings about a different dynamic in the
Mhm.
household. There's just lots of shifting dynamics. And so I want to start, and I want you to share with the people, like, what and where have you struggled?
Ooh, which
Maybe
part?
as a wife, maybe as a mother, maybe as, an entrepreneur, maybe as, you recently have your certification as a lactation counselor, like where you minister in song, you walk in the calling of a prophet, like you have big things going on.
Mhm.
Where have you struggled? Where's your struggle?
So where I've struggled is, I mean, and this is not to like scapegoat the question, but everywhere. And when I say everywhere, it's really been trying, finding the way to be not congruent, but the Lord really had to walk me through this scripture. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. And I was pulling into my driveway one day, and I heard the Lord say so loudly, he said, until you allow me to be in everything, I can't make them all good. And it was such a heart check, because he was exposing to me that I was trying so hard to compartmentalize different things instead of just letting them flow and be together. And
Right.
I think that and I was just talking to one of my brand partners today about not being afraid to show up in every facet of life fully and completely, because she was like, I don't want to seem like I'm all over the place. Well, that only looks like it's all over the place to people who are small minded and who can only see you in one facet. And in some ways, I had self imposed limitations, and I had allowed other people to put their limitations on me and what I was capable of doing. But also, when we were talking, like the Lord just, he always gives me like visuals. And I was like, Jesus was a carpenter's son, but that wasn't all he did. But if that was all he did, what would we have been left with? And that was nothing. And
Mhm.
because he was able to learn to show up fully as Joseph's son, as Mary's son, as the son of God, we got to experience the fullness of who he was. And
Yes.
I figured out how to and I'm still figuring it out,
Mhm.
how to let the Lord do that for me and with me and partnering with him. It limits my ability to show up fully and completely. Like, there have been times where I'm like, I feel like I'm missing something, but it was really me, because I wasn't inviting him into every space. I was pride was causing me to try to figure it out in my
Yeah.
own way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I feel like we could just break that down for hours, right? Just that little bit, which is so deep. And again, I think that's one of the things that I love about when I'm able to connect with you, is because it's like light, but it goes so deep, deep and wide, deep and wide. Anyways, but I feel there's just such a deep space for that. So you struggled in every area, and ultimately bringing these things together as one, so
Mm-hmm.
that you show up. Tiara Piggee is wife, is mother, is entrepreneur, is minister of music, is prophetess, like all of these things is all at the same time. So how have you worked through that? So that was the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
How have you, and are you working through that? What is the other side of that? What does that look like to you?
So that was me allowing the Lord to use people around me to show me how to do that. And
Mm,
like, I feel like sometimes we really are like, Lord, I want you to write it in the sky, or I want you to give me a vision or a dream and like write it on a piece of paper for me. And he's like, yeah, but I really could just place people in your life to do life with you, to show you what that looks like. Because I'm a very literal person. So when people give me verbal instructions, a lot of times I'm like, if I can't find, like, no, literally, that's how I feel. If I can't figure out a way to visualize it, I'm lost. And so
mm,
he did that. What he's done for me is place people in my life who are doing the things that I struggle in, and also were able to give me verbiage that makes sense to me. So that's been you. That's been Deetra. That's been my spiritual mother. That has been my husband in different times in different areas of life. And once I realized that I had to like take myself out of the seat of the throne of my life, because
yeah.
honestly that's what pride is. You're exalting
Hmm.
yourself. Once I
Hmm.
realized that was kind of an issue, I was like, okay, I need to let these people help. And
Yeah.
I have figured some things out, and there are areas where I'm still improving.
Yeah.
um, Definitely areas where I'm still improving and becoming more comfortable and learning to just show up and say the things and do the things.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. So with summertime, like right on the horizon, or some of us are already in it, just kind of depending upon where you live, and the kids being home, what has been the biggest struggle of, being a mom of four children? Like, what's the biggest struggle there? Like, and maybe not, no, let me pull that question back. We all have a heart for our children to
Mhm.
be and do X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
And sometimes in the mundane, in the day-to-day of life, we can get lost in that. So, what are the things that you are implementing in your life to not get lost in the mundane, to find this, for lack of a better terms, fresh wind of motherhood and like the juggling?
Okay. So number one, taking care of myself,
Okay.
taking care of my body.
Hold,
I,
hold, hold, hold. Whoop. Stop the presses. You said what? Did you say what? Say that again.
taking care of myself,
Okay.
taking care of my body.
Okay. Okay. I just need everybody on the interwebs to hear that. This mother of four, wife, entrepreneur, like all of these things, has chosen to first take care of herself, to pull down that oxygen mask. And you're going to hear me talk about that all through this summer series. Pull down that oxygen mask, cover herself, get the oxygen herself. And what has that allowed you to do?
Woo. It's allowed me to want to show up, because in
Mm,
reality, when I wasn't doing that right, I was showing up, but I didn't want to. And it's different when people do things because they want to and because they have to. I can't stand it when I ask Cordell to scratch my back and he says, and then he does it. I'm like, no, bro, I want you to act like you want to scratch my back. I want you to act like you enjoy scratching my back.
yes, yes.
To act like you like it. But anyway, I feel like my kids feel that, like when they're like, mommy, I need or I want. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to. They feel
Yes.
that. And then they begin to feel like it's a burden for me to be their mom. And like that makes me a little emotional because I remember giving that off to them and having to watch my husband step up in ways that I physically could not and emotionally could not. And
Mhm.
so for me, that looks like eating the things that fuel my body the right way.
Yeah.
That looks like being okay with seeing that my body may not be in the best state in certain areas and doing what I need to do to improve it. Not
Yeah.
seeing it as a way to shame myself or to beat myself up for the ways that I used to eat or not eat or whatever.
Mhm.
But just seeing it as room for improvement. And so I take care of myself. Girl, what was the question?
How are you how are you prioritizing putting yourself first, and how does that feel for your family? What's different because you're prioritizing yourself and showing up first?
Okay. So I feel like I'm getting to enjoy my kids and my husband so much more now than I was before. Um, I was petrified of having four kids
Yeah.
because I know how overwhelmed I felt with just Eve. And
Mhm.
then Chloe came and I was like, oh child, no, we can't have no more for at least a few years. And then Caleb and Josh came real fast.
Yep.
And so my concern was that I wouldn't have capacity for them, that I wouldn't have capacity for my husband. And definitely was worried about my spiritual relationship with the Lord because I had such a regiment in my devotion. But I see now that the Lord really kind of like made me throw all of that away, the regimented thing that I felt like I needed. And he was like, I just need you to flow with me. And which sounds crazy when you're dealing with prophetic people who are like, we're going with the wind, Jesus. But in my life, I was like, no, I need structure. I need this, or I'm going to
Mhm.
freak out. And
Yep.
he's like,
Yep.
yeah, let's undo all that so that you can really see me in my fullness and so that I can expose who I am to you. So really, like, it's been it's been great to put things in proper perspective and proper order because like you said, you can't pour from an empty cup, and that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
legit what I had been doing.
Yeah.
All in the name of, but my kids need me and my husband needs me and the church needs me. But I feel like trash. That was not the example Jesus left.
Right.
If
Right.
I'm going to share the message of Jesus, my life should be a reflection of what he's shown me in his word.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I will never forget the day that you had come. You were pregnant with Josh,
Mm-hmm.
and you had come into my office, and you were like, the words you used, if I can remember it accurately, I feel like hot trash on a hot Arkansas summer day, like
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Just like, and y'all, this we're not even in the full Arkansas summer days yet, but baby, this hot. And if you like when you go outside and you feel that heat wave and you just like, ugh, You literally just want to melt. You have nothing. So if this is how you're showing up in the world, we have an issue.
Mhm.
We have a problem.
Mhm.
But guess what? Many of us are showing up in the world this way. Many of us are showing up in the world this way, and we think it's normal. We're like, I mean, what else am I gonna do? What else am I gonna do?
Mhm.
But there is a what else you can do.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna turn it back over to T. What exactly did you do to no longer feel like hot trash on the sidewalk on a Arkansas summer day? What'd you do?
I shifted what I was putting in my body. You
Okay.
introduced me to the superfoods, to Purium, and it looked like it legit has changed my life.
Mm,
In ways that I never anticipated. I didn't think it would. I was just happy to have energy and to be able to like show up the evening after you introduced me to the superfoods. I was able to show up for my family in a way that I had not been able to in months. And from there I was like, I don't know what this is, but I need this every single day
mhm.
because I need to be able to be present, and I need to be able to not just be present with my family but be present with the Lord. That's extremely important to me.
Yeah.
And at the time, like, I'm praying all prayers of warfare. I'm thinking I'm under like so much spiritual attack. And I'm like, what's the lesson in this? And I'm just ready to not be pregnant. I'm ready to get out of this season. But now that I know what I know, it wasn't a spiritual attack. It was natural human depletion by not having the right foods. And those things affect your ability to show up spiritually in ways that we haven't been taught.
Mhm.
We always look for the deep thing instead of looking at maybe what's attached to this. We're three parts. We're by mind, body, and spirit. But sometimes as Christians, we can become so spirit minded that we're no earthly good. That's what the old folks used to say. Uh,
Mhm.
but we've got to look at them both. And so, yes, like pray, cover yourself, all of those things. But also, what are you doing in the natural that may be impacting how you're showing up in
Yep.
this earth where you're supposed to do the work? And so that once the brain fog, mommy brain is what I thought it was. I was like, I used to tell people, yeah, each kid is just taking a little piece of my brain with them.
Yep.
They're so smart and they're just sucking my intelligence away. Not true. I'm still highly intelligent and ever evolving and growing. Thank you, Josh. Ever growing and evolving. And really, like, we just got to be mindful of our words too. That's another talk. But the way that I've been able to reverse things in my body just by using what God already gave me through food has been phenomenal.
I just kind of leaned in because you said something reverse, and I just shared a talk about infertility. And part of the big thing is like we have got to get out of the mindset that what today is the way it's going to be. Right? Like, you get out of the mindset that, "Oh, my mama had it, my uncle had it, my auntie had it, and I'm just in this state of
Mm-hmm.
decline." We've got to get out of the state of decline and go, "Guess what? I can regenerate." Cells actually regenerate. Like, you can give them something different,
Mm-hmm.
and then they will respond differently. And guess what? We are comprised, our entire body, of cells. So when we give ourselves something different, what they actually need, proper prescription, if you will, which is whole foods,
Mm-hmm.
when we give our body whole foods, our cells come alive.
Right.
And then when they come alive, we can actually regenerate our bodies on the inside out, and we show up in the world different. We show up in the world different. We show up alive. Um, I feel like there's a passage of scripture, I know there is, and it's like just not hitting me right now, or just a general philosophy or understanding of like we're alive, we're physically, here, but are we alive? Are
Mm-hmm.
we physically alive, but actually spiritually dead, or like walking zombies? You know what I'm saying? Just kind of going through day to day. Like, when I got this superfood in my body, I kind of liken it to the Popeye the Sailor Man effect, right? So you drink it, you got the spinach, and you're like, pop, 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 and then you come alive. And that's literally what I feel in my body. And
Mhm.
I did not know that I was supposed to feel this alive.
Right.
Like cellular like activity, life. I did not know that because I hadn't experienced that. My skin, my like the internal terrain is healthier. And so it's showing up on the external terrain a whole nother way, like alive, energetic. So when you're a mom, and I'm sharing this on several platforms, and then the reason why I'm sharing it on multiple platforms is because we're talking about summertime. We're talking about moms who are at home. Oftentimes with their kids, or maybe trying to juggle their kids being at home and what's going on with their kids, and how do we do this? How do I love my kids? Or mom guilt, like this back and forth exchange that women are dealing with or kind of struggling with, and they're not able to show up in their bodies well because of the toxic terrain that comes from our food. And I'm not saying that you're trying to do that. Like, you're not trying to do that, but it's what's happening. And so we're creating toxicity in our body, sluggishness, slumped, tired, brain fog. I don't want us. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
then we're sharing that and imparting that to our kids. And then we're giving our kids what's those little things like the iPad and some candy to get them quiet. And then you're wondering why they acting crazy. Well, you've just added damage to the terrain of their body, so they're not going to function with focus and clarity and calmness. They're going to focus or respond erratically because we haven't nourished their bodies on the cellular level. I mean, I just like, whoa. Like, whoa. And so I want every mom, every family to get this message and to hear this. Like these women that I showcased Sarita yesterday, you today, and you guys have littles in your home. Like I have children, but my children are older. Um, and so like you have to show up in a different way than
Mhm.
I have to show up right now. Like if I felt like being slumped and laying in the bed for a while, I could. I could, and the world would keep moving.
Mhm.
You, however, cannot. And so, if we're not pulling down our own oxygen mask and taking care of us first, then what are we giving to our children? We're giving less than, subpar. And this is where mom guilt, depression, all of these other things start to come into play. You want to show up for your kids, right? You want to show up for yourself. You want to show up for your husband. All of these things. But it starts at the very basic, small level, which is the cell.
Mhm.
And when we start feeding ourselves, we start nourishing, we pull out the toxins and all of that stuff and start cleaning up that internal terrain. We show up different. We're
Mhm.
more alive, we're more active, we're more energetic. We love better, right? Okay, so there's that. That's what I have to say. That's what I have to say about that. So, T, do you have any other thing that you want to just add or kind of a nugget of truth that you want to give to these mamas? We're coming at the 30-minute hour and I want to make sure we honor time and all that jazz. So,
Um, as you were talking, I think in my heart I was like, this is such a beautiful message for Black mamas
mm,
because from the moment we come out, we are asked to be stronger than we really were created to be.
mm,
And we watch our moms struggle to work and to feed us, and they give us all the best and they take the scraps. And I want us all to give ourselves permission
mm,
to do what we need to do for ourselves. Like our babies are beautiful and we love them, but we cannot keep giving them the scraps of ourselves either. And so I pray, my heart's desire is that Black mamas will show up for themselves, like not waiting on somebody else to show up for you. Show up for you. You are an investment. And
yeah,
if you have had to struggle with getting out of bed in the mornings, struggling with abdominal discomfort and pain and bloating and constipation and these things that we just decide I'm just going to suffer through and it's going to
yeah,
be okay. As long as my kids are good, I'm good. No, mama, that's not it.
it's not
And
it.
this isn't something we're taught to do. It's like being in good health is like a luxury. Getting
Mm,
to eat healthy has been seen as a luxury, and that poverty and slavery mentality around healthy food has to be destroyed so that we can really, really show up. And so I'm just grateful that we are two wonderful moms
yeah.
sharing this information, so that people can see somebody that looks like them.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about like being, summertime fine. That's cool. But if you really feel like trash and you still fine, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
does
Yeah.
that really matter? Like, if you're
Right.
willing to show up here, doesn't really matter what's going on here.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That was beautifully stated. And I just want to like, I was planning on like letting you finish and being like, all right, guys, holla at you next time. But you said something that just kind of stirred me. And it's the taking the scraps and like taking the leftovers and saying that's enough, but you're more than that.
Mm-hmm.
You're more than that. You're more than the leftovers. You're more than that. And so, if I don't say anything or you don't hear anything from this discussion, you are more than leftovers. You are more than scraps. And guess what? Your kids are watching. So while you're like, I'm doing all this to show up for my kids, I'm doing all this to show up for my family, doing all this to show up for the da 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 da, all they're seeing is you scrambling and in disarray. And guess what? We're imparting that to the next generation.
Yep.
So, what shifts? What happens? What changes when they see you showing up for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
When they see you prioritizing yourself, taking care of you? There's a pride that develops in them. And then that shifts. And now you're imparting that to them. Like, pull your own oxygen mask first first. And everything in our society sometimes feels counter to that. Well, no, our society now is like, take care of yourself, da, 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 but not in the way that it's supposed to, right? Not
Right.
in the way that we're like genuinely supposed to, or that brings about the most life. So anyways, I just want to remind everyone of that, of like, let's pull back from this strong, I got it together. Don't worry about, I'll take the scraps. That's enough for me mindset. Because the truth is, it's not enough for you.
Mm-hmm.
You are more than that. You are worth more than that. You are more valuable. And what you're imparting to your children is that message of, I'm not enough. So when you change the narrative and say, I am enough, I am worth it, and I'm going to do what it takes to show up alive, active, energetic, and well in my body, that teaches, that speaks, and your kids get the same message. And then they do the same thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then they duplicate that for the next generation and the next generation. You're worried about the next generation? Start with you. Start with you. Start with you. And don't start with your husband. Don't start with, let me get the kids right. Start with you. And that example will speak more voluminous. You learn better. What is it saying? Uh I can show you better than I can tell you. Start showing up. Show people better than you tell them. And watch the trajectory of your life change.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the wellness, the health, the well-being of your family and future generations actually change. And it's never too late. It's never too late. I started this when my kids were adults, and they see the difference. Like, they see the difference. My youngest, I'm gonna throw this out there and then I am gonna wrap it up, I promise. My youngest is probably the most opposed to like the superfood protocol and like getting it all in. And so this weekend she had come home, her and her sister were home, and they were hanging out dancing and all the different things. And so early the morning came, and they were like in the bed, and she was like, I'm just hungry. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean hungry? I got like all the things. And she was like, you have juices and superfood. And I was like, super food. It's food, boo. You want me to make you some? So I made her up some, and she was like, "Okay." So then she drank it, and I felt like she had her Popeye moment. Low key, she probably didn't want to tell me, but I know she had her Popeye moment because I know it hits. I know it hits on the cellular level, and I know it makes you come alive and have energy for the day. And so it's just little things like that, but they know that it's different. And
Mhm.
and this same daughter had said to me, she was like, I might need to get on this superfood stuff, and I might need to start sharing. I might need to get for real with this. And I was like, yeah, because it's for real life changing. So, anywho, so much to share, so much to be said, so much to kind of break down, but it's summertime. And so this is a great time, a great season to find a way to show up for yourself so that you can show up for others in this time. So Tiara, I want to thank you for taking the time to, carve out and share with us today. If anything that we've shared kind of resonates with you, let us know, hit us up. If you're ready to be like, okay, I'm ready to start showing up for me, then let us know. And we're happy to get you linked in and join our regenerative community. And it hits so many different levels. So maybe you're trying to conceive. We got you. Maybe you're already pregnant and you're wanting to like do this the best. We got you. Maybe you're postpartum and you're like, I'm feeling depleted. We got you. If you're like just living life of empty nester or a new like bursting out, I mean, basically, we got you. Because the truth is, every single one of us need cellular regeneration. Every single one of us. And I can go into a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm not. I shall refrain, and I will holler at you next time. Um, Bye. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you next time.